Hey, I noticed you were making a few mistakes, so I figured I'd make a video kind of explaining how to do it correctly, and hopefully then you can see your mistakes. I figured this would be easier than trying to email you. Okay, so number 5, again, the first parenthesis just drops straight down. So pretty much just get rid of the parentheses. I'm going to rewrite this first term without parentheses. I just wrote it without parentheses. Okay, now my second term, since this is a plus sign, just rewrite the second term the exact same as well. Minus 2n to the third plus 4n. Now we need to combine like terms. So I'm looking for anything that is an n squared. That's the only one. So it stays a negative n squared. Okay, next up, let's look for anything that has just an n. There's a 7n, and there is 4n. So 7n plus 4n is 11n. Now last, here I have 2n to the thirds, a negative 4n to the third, minus 2. Now, what you can do is pretty much just treat these like they don't have the end of the third. And what I mean by that is just treat it like negative 4 minus 2. Well, negative 4 minus 2, if you use a calculator, you'd get negative 6. So this would be negative 6, and then add the end of the third on, end of the third. There's your final answer. Now, you could also write it in standard form, which would look like negative 6n to the third minus n squared plus 11n. And all I did to get that in standard form was to move this out front. I moved the negative 6n to the third out front because it's the highest degree. Okay, if you notice, I went from number 5 straight to number 6 because you did number 6 correct. So whatever you did at number 6, do that for all the problems because you did that one correctly. Okay, now on to number 7. Now again, the first term, this whole thing I'm just going to rewrite without parentheses. Negative 3n squared plus n minus 5n to the fourth. Now again, this is a plus sign, so I can just rewrite this one without the parentheses. Ignore the parentheses. So it's minus 6n squared minus 2n plus 7n to the fourth. Okay, now what I can do is combine like terms. So I'm looking for anything to start. It doesn't really matter which one you start with, so I'll start with the one with the highest exponent. So anything that has an n to the fourth, here, I'll do a different color for you, actually. That has an n to the fourth, and that has an n to the fourth. So those are like terms, and I can combine them. So now just ask yourself, what is negative 5 plus 7? Well, negative 5 plus 7, if you use a calculator, you should get 2. And then just tack the end of the fourth on. 2 n to the fourth. Boom. Okay, now let's look for my next highest degree, which would be n squared. So I have an n squared here and an n squared here. And that's if I highlight these, negative 3n squared minus 6n squared. So now it's just like you would type it into a calculator. Negative 3 minus 6, you should get negative 9. So I'll write negative 9, but again, I'll just tack that n squared on the end. Now, last but not least, I should have an n minus 2n. So it's positive n minus 2n. Now, this one's a little tricky. You got to remember, if there's no number in front, that's really a 1n. So what is 1 minus 2? 1n minus 2n. Well, on your calculator, if you do 1 minus 2, you would get negative 1n. And again, you don't really need that 1, so if you wrote it with or without the green 1 actually, I'll make it red. With or without that red 1 is correct. This would be your final answer.